Khayelihle Khumalo is here to tell us what's on the international desk diary for the week. It's a busy one. The African Union Summit had just taken place. President Ramaphosa had reported back on the G20 to the African Union Summit. They, of course, participated in the AU as a first-time member body. What else are you keeping your eye on?
Well, obviously, quite a very pivotal moment, Oliver. This is an annual gathering where the African leaders do have an opportunity to look at a range of issues. And really, the theme this time around is around water and sanitation in the continent. We know that with the implications of climate change, quite a number of Africans are battling in terms of the provision of clean water, but also from South Africa as well. We've had a very comprehensive reports from President Ramaphosa. As you know, that South Africa is chairing the C5, overseeing the peace agreement in South Sudan, and also just looking at other critical issues, Oliver, when it comes to really just other issues around really just making sure that Africa is able to adapt in terms of the improvement of intra-Africa trade, but also a number of issues on the sidelines of this particular gathering, whether you're looking at the issues of debt sustainability, but also quite a number of other issues as well.
Yeah. The Munich Security Conference is also taking place, and you're keeping your eyes on that. Tell us about it.
Well, very much so, Oliver, especially because, I mean, the fairly dominant issue has been around the U.S., you know, the plan around the takeover of Greenland, where we've seen repeatedly the U.S. President Donald Trump talking about this particular issue, but also really at stake is around the transatlantic, you know, bond, where we've seen the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, addressing the delegates in Germany, really reaffirming that the U.S. is still committed to Europe, but also we know that there's a bit of a mistrust in this particular instance, Oliver, especially because of this particular issue that is really burning, but quite a number of global leaders as well, looking at the issue of security, which is a very main issue.
Yeah, and U.S.-Iran tensions seem to just keep rising, and of course, there are now, we know now, reports of potential strikes against Iran, which are back on the table. A few weeks ago, they were on the table, then they were off the table. Now they're seemingly back on the table. This time around, the pretext seems to have shifted away from just specifically around nuclear proliferation, but towards an existential threat to U.S. national security, as they claim. But it's unclear what that threat might be. Potentially a retaliation to last year May's attacks on those 3 Iranian nuclear sites, and the U.S. potentially anticipating that. We also know they removed a lot of their troops from bases in the Middle East that are within striking range from Iran. What do we know? What are you keeping your eye on in pertaining to that global tension?
What has been very clear, Oliver, is that Iran has been saying that if the U.S. were to strike Tehran, I mean, there are far-reaching implications for the region, especially because, I mean, this time around we know that the Armada is approaching that part of the world, but also we know that the talks have been just ongoing, but also apart from that, we know that Trump has been really saying that it's quite important for Iran to have the deal with the U.S. to stop the enrichment, but also Iran talking about its own sovereignty, that they do have a right in terms of making sure that they do their own stuff.
Yeah, no, certainly. Khayelihle, thank you so much for that. Busy week for you ahead, and of course, we'll stay in touch as those packages come through to give us a sense of what's happening in the international front. We're going to take a short break. We'll continue on the other side of this.